Are all cameras good for the white, or do you need the white card? You're all good? This is the 5-minute warning.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
The 5-minute warning.
Okay.
Gallant or Gallant?
Either way, everybody says it different.
Which is your preference? You must.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
would have said.
That's the way most people say it, so.
We're not starting just yet,
No.
You still.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll get the 2-minute warning in 5 seconds.
Okay.
2-minute warning.
2-minute warning, yeah, 2-minute warning.
Am I straight?
Do you mind if I?
Yeah.
Using both thumbs really well there today.
There you go.
Thank you.
Chris, you always use 2 thumbs at the same time. It's like,
I went to military college, so I have an eye for those details.
It took time, but, and I used to get frustrated, and then I just don't get frustrated, just hit, yeah. If you just have to like. I'm still doing this though. No, I'm sitting, I still have a machine on my BlackBerry. I know, I could type my eyes closed on BlackBerry. Yeah.
One-minute warning.
1 minute, Jenna, 1-minute warning.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
10 seconds.
10-second warning.
Good morning. I'm Police Constable Sarah Diamond. I'm here today to introduce Detective Sergeant Stacy Gallant, who will be providing you with an update regarding an arrest made in the investigation into the homicide of Chris Skinner. Also joining Detective Sergeant Gallant are Chris's parents, Ellen and Warren Skinner.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending today. On October 18th, 2009, Christopher Skinner was enjoying an evening out in the entertainment district with friends and family. At the end of the night, he started to make his way home, walking eastbound along Adelaide Street, making attempts to hail a cab along the way. When Chris reached Victoria Street, he encountered a black Ford Explorer with a number of occupants in the vehicle. An interaction took place, at which time the male occupants exited the vehicle and proceeded to knock Chris to the ground. He was then assaulted by being punched and kicked while he was on the ground. The males then re-entered this black Ford Explorer, and the driver drove directly over Christopher Skinner, causing his death. The 4-year anniversary of this case was only a couple of weeks ago. I stood before you here and made again a media appeal, and I would tell you that since then, the investigative team has made significant progress in this case. Yesterday, the driver of this black Ford Explorer was arrested and has been charged with second-degree murder in the death of Christopher Skinner. The accused was 19 years old at the time of the offense, and he is a resident of Etobicoke. Augustin Alexander Caruso, C-A-R-U-S-O, now 23 years old, stands charged with second-degree murder. He is appearing today at College Park Courts, most likely as we speak right now. The murder weapon, a black 2004 Ford Explorer, has been seized. This investigation has revealed that there were a total of 6 people in this vehicle at the time of the offense. It was a mix of males and females. I can say I'm disappointed to say that in the 4 years of this ongoing investigation, none of the individuals that did not participate in any way in the death of Chris Skinner chose to come forward on their own. They instead kept this information to themselves and lived with it for the past 4 years. This investigation is not concluded. It is still ongoing, and I can assure you that there will be further arrests in this case in the very near future. As I stated in the past, anyone who assisted in any way 4 years ago or 4 days ago, or participated in any way in the events that led to the death of Christopher Skinner will be held to account. I would like to personally thank the media for keeping this story or this investigation relevant in the media over the past 4 years. It has assisted in many ways in the investigation, and it continued to keep pressure on those responsible. I would also like to thank the investigative team for their hard work and support in this investigation. It has been a long time coming, and I am very pleased with the results that we have as far today. Today we also have with us Christopher Skinner's parents. They are here. I believe they're willing to come up to the podium and answer a few questions, and I am also available to answer some questions if there are any particular ones that I can speak about.
Detective, what led you to him?
Excuse me, what
What
led
led
me
you to the accused?
Well, as stated, it's been a long investigation. I can't go directly into how I received information, but I did receive information from both community members back in 4 years ago and people that are closer to the investigation as it unfolded within the last several months.
How many more arrests are you expecting to make?
At least 2, maybe more.
How many people were in that SUV?
6 in total.
And where was he arrested?
He was arrested yesterday morning, in the north end of the city around Finch and Not sure where.
Anything else you know about this guy?
Excuse me?
You know the police, anything else you can tell us about this?
No, he's not known to police in any previous arrests or anything like that. As I said, he's a citizen of Toronto. He lives in Etobicoke.
What was the motive in this? Why did they get out and start beating Christopher, and then how did it end in, Skidder being run over?
Some of that will be revealed as the court case unfolds. I can tell you that what's the scenario that I posed early on in this investigation is consistent with the investigative findings as we went along.
And then you believe that it may have been sparked by just an innocent touch of the SUV as he was trying to hail the cab?
Yes, that's correct.
And Stacy, last month, I mean, you were holding a lot of cards close to your chest, but you were appealing for information. Even Christopher's family said that they thought that maybe you knew more than what you were letting on. Now you're saying that in the last several months, people close to the investigation came forward with information. Tell us what was going on a couple of weeks ago. Did you have an idea then of who might have been responsible, and were you hoping that that press conference may have given somebody the final push, or given you the final push of information?
Well, last couple of weeks ago, it was the 4-year anniversary, and on the 4-year anniversary, on the anniversary of the investigation every year, I have done a press conference. I did not waver from that. I continued on with it. The investigation was ongoing back then, and it continued right up until yesterday, and it will continue for several weeks ongoing. Yes, I did have information back then, and yes, I was working on things back then. Of course, for investigative purposes, I couldn't reveal the status of who I was looking at or what I was looking at that time.
What is it like, I guess, pursuing this, investigating a murder like this for 4 years?
As I said, I'm disappointed that the other people that weren't involved didn't come forward to me sooner or on their own and bring forward what they knew, and they had to live with it for 4 years. I feel for the family that had to live with it for 4 years, not knowing and having no answers. At least at this point in time, we now have some answers, and it's going to be a long road forward anyway as we move forward into the court process for this individual.
How did you come up with the make and model of the vehicle again?
We had surveillance video from the initial investigation, and as the identity of the individual responsible became known, obviously the make and model of his vehicle has become.
And this was not the public involved? I know there were rewards up to $150,000 for information leading to this. Was it a tip from the public, or,
No one has made any claims to a reward in this case at this point in time.
Could it be an hate crime?
Pardon me?
Could it be an hate crime?
No, I addressed that early on in the investigation, and it remains that way. It was not a hate crime, and that played no part in this investigation.
Can
Can you just clarify
the
for us
alleged-
and walk us through what's changed here from that press conference just those weeks ago to today? Any insight you can give us into what's changed even over the 4 years to now that we're finally here today? What information or what's changed?
Well, we're now into the stage that it's going to be placed before the courts, and the investigation is now before the courts. I can't go into the investigative details of what happened. I can say that from the last time we were present here, the investigation did proceed very quickly, and which led to the arrest of Augustin Caruso yesterday.
Was he still driving that vehicle? Did he still have it in his possession? Was he operating it still?
No, he was not.
Where was it?
I can't get into the location of how I became.
Can you say how long after Christopher was killed that it came out of his possession?
I came into the possession of this vehicle this year.
And can you say how long after Christopher was killed? Can you just say did he try to get rid of it? Was it a quick sale? Do you have evidence that he was trying to distance himself from that video 4 years ago?
No, I can say that I came into possession of the vehicle sometime this year, in the recent time since we last spoke, and it was obtained during the course of the investigation after I located where it was. I can't say how or why.
Detective, now that you have the driver in custody, do you know who the other 5 people are?
I have some idea who the others are involved and who was in the vehicle, and that is the avenue that we'll be pursuing now. Obviously, the people in the vehicle know who they are, and I'm sure they're aware that I am pursuing them and looking at them, and that will continue until I have all the information of what everyone, each and every person in that vehicle knew and what their participation in the events of that night were.
You said 6 people in the vehicle, at least 2 more arrests to come. Does that mean you know of 2 more people and you're still looking? I mean, can all 6 be charged in this murder?
Potentially, everyone in the vehicle could, depending on what their level of participation was or what they did after the fact, if they assisted in any way.
If they knew about it?
If they knew about it?
Left them there, is that a charge?
Well, if they assisted in any way, the driver or anybody that's, specifically the driver, if they assisted him in concealing any evidence or getting away with it for the past 4 years, or even helping him hide in any way or not be revealed to the investigation.
Is anybody in that vehicle helping you now? Have you spoken to them? Are they helping with the investigation now?
Again, that's investigative privilege. I can't talk about any current ongoing witnesses.
You also said females were in the vehicle?
Yes.
Do you know how many?
2.
Were they involved in the beating?
No.
Sergeant, you've already said that it's not a hate crime. Any idea what the motive was? Was there some sort of interaction before this assault?
No, the interaction was directly before the assault, and it was, again, consistent with what I said 4 years ago, that there was a very minor interaction between Chris and the occupants of the vehicle that led to them exiting the vehicle and assaulting him.
You thought he might have touched their car inadvertently? Is that what led to this man dying?
That's correct.
Detective, can you just be clear then that this is, you said no one has laid claim to this reward. So is it fair for us to say then this is just police work that's led you to him? No tips from the public, no witnesses coming forward?
I've had many, many tips from the public. A lot of tips came in from the public. A lot of people have called in to Crime Stoppers, to many of the different programs that we have, directly to me, to other investigators. The information that led to this arrest came from police work, came from interviewing hundreds of people, and from going where the investigation led us to these individuals.
I guess what I'm asking is there's nobody who phoned in and just said this is it, or this was years long of work that led up to this point?
No, that's correct.
And just one more question. The family we know has been active on social media. There was a reward in this case. Can you just address how that activity can help you do your job? Did it assist in this instance?
Yeah, I think the media aspect, whether social media or the media that's present today, that has assisted, and I've said that all along, that keeping the pressure on those involved and reminding them each and every day, each and every anniversary of this incident, that they were involved, and keeping it in the media. Eventually, something's going to fall through the cracks. Somebody's going to talk to someone. Somebody's going to tell someone they were present in the vehicle or something in that matter. So I think that constant pressure, whether it was on the social media sites or directly in the news and in the newspapers, that did assist in bringing us to some closure on this case.
First and last name.
Spell the suspect's name for us, please.
His first name is Augustin, Agustin, and his surname is Caruso, Caruso.
23 now.
Currently 23 years old.
4 years later, how does it feel to now have an arrest and a charge laid in this case?
Well, it's obviously I'm glad to have an arrest and a charge laid, but it's a bittersweet day. It's it's now a new start to a new phase in this investigation, and it's for myself and for the family. And yeah, I'm pleased to say to the community that we have come forward and we have an arrest today, and there is more to come.
Thank you for those questions. At this point, we'd like to invite the Skinners to come forward and. Hi.
Just tell us your reaction to the news.
As Stacy said, bittersweet. This doesn't do anything to bring Christopher back, and it starts a whole new chapter of agony and pain that we have to go through. Who knew there were so many phases to go through in sorrow?
When did you get the news and what was your initial reaction?
Stacy and Doug Dunstan, the two detectives that were initially working on it, came up last night, all the way up to where we live, and we had a cup of tea, and he told us, many years ago, we said to them our biggest fear was that we were going to find out from you guys. And so they were kind enough to come up and tell us personally. So 8:30 last night.
You know, the public never seemed to forget about this case. It really touched a lot of people. How much you appreciate all the attention that it's received.
Yeah, Christopher had a lot of friends. We have a lot of friends. Christopher was a bigger-than-life personality, and it was a star that was extinguished, so.
Does this bring you any sense of, I don't know, closure in any way? Are
No,
you
there's that word, and it just doesn't happen. You can't just dust your hands off and say, there, that's done, because it's not done. We're going into the next phase. It's a book, and we have finished chapter 1, and we have many chapters to go ahead. But there is a small sense of relief that he's not on the streets anymore, allegedly, because I am married to a lawyer. And there is, I know for the guys, the detectives, I know it's a sense of relief that they've gotten to this stage, and only through dogged detective work. I mean, they're very, very careful to dot their I's and cross their T's. Again, I know this because I'm married to a lawyer, that if you don't do that, then things get tossed out of the courts. And we were always, always very adamant to say, no, 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 don't rush this. Make sure.
What is it like for you, knowing that 6 people were in that SUV?
It's horrible, and they have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
Warren, Ellen said last month, you know, you're the lawyer, so when the whole closure thing came up, for you, I mean, an arrest would just seem to be the next logical step. Can you just tell us what this means for you?
It is just the next step, and the process from here, obviously, the young man will probably apply for bail. He has to go to Superior Court to do that. So that might be 2 weeks from now, might be 2 months from now, I don't know. So there's a bail hearing, then likely be a preliminary hearing, then a trial, so, you know, you're talking another year or 2, perhaps,
And there's more arrests to come.
hopefully.
Have you guys decided what role you want to play in the court process? You know, some families go to every single court appearance, some just wait until the trial. Have you decided that?
I haven't, I don't know if Ellen has.
I'm not going to go. I don't think we need to put ourselves through that pain each and every day. It's already painful that we're living with it. But we know that we had a brief discussion last night about the people in the court system who will be working on this, and we know that we'll have a good contact information exchange going on. And when they deem it necessary, I mean, you have to put your hands in the hands of the professionals, right? So when they say go, we go.
You don't feel any need to go across the street to College Park right now and look this guy in the eye?
Absolutely not. Didn't even want to look at his picture last night.
I talked about it. I thought about doing it today, but,
But why not?
well, I don't know. It was just something that came to me when we were talking with Stacy and Doug, and I said I'd rather go to College Park than come here, but that sort of passed.
What do you remember about Christopher, and what kind of person was he?
Go ahead.
Okay, we want to have smart questions here, okay? Because this is hard enough for us to do. I just said Christopher was larger than life. He was fantastic. He was smart. He was always in the gifted program. He was musical. He sang. He was in plays. He was your best friend. He was your most loyal friend. He never walked into a room where he didn't give you a big hug and a big kiss and a big hug and a kiss when he left. He lived downtown. We live up north, and he came home almost every weekend, and usually bringing a whole bunch of people with him, a whole bunch of his friends, because his friends were our family and we were their family. And it remains so this day. We always had extra people at Christmas that Christopher had picked up along the way that didn't have any place to go for Christmas dinner, so we always had, I know our family can remember some folks that came in that were quite astonishing, but full of love and happiness in their own way. So,
Can I ask you, it seems like some of those people are here with you today.
yeah.
What's kept you going over these past 4 years? We've seen the social media, the reward. How have you kept this going after all these years, held on to that hope that this day would finally be here?
I think we just honor the spirit, honor Christopher's spirit, and never let anybody forget it.
But with that in mind, assuming that no one wants the reward money, do you have any ideas or plans?
We have to offer it back to the people that donated the money.
It's in trust in Warren's law office, so there's a detailed record of where all the funds came from, and it will be offered back to them. If they don't want it back, then it will go into the Christopher Skinner Memorial Foundation, where we support a lot of children's groups, a lot of, I can't think right now, Pinball Clemens, we've supported him, we've put splash pads into our town, we've helped with that, skateboarding park, sent kids to camp. Movember, we're good on, because Christopher always tried to grow a mustache and was really lousy at it, but was very enthusiastic, so we support friends that want to entertain that. So we have a fundraising golf tournament as well in the summer that that Warren's family organizes. Some of them are here today, and it's an incredible amount of work. And we work at maintaining an almost zero balance in that bank account, and we give away a lot of money.
Typically, the longer it takes to solve a case, the less likely it seems the case will get solved. Did you ever lose hope? Did you ever think this day would come?
I never lost hope. I know that Stacy and Doug's now retired, but I know that when he was still active in the police force, I know that they were working hard, and they never ever indicated in any way that it would become a cold case. Somebody on the radio this morning used the word cold case, and I don't know which radio it was, but it's never been a cold case. As far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been, and Doug and Stacy have always maintained, no, this is not a cold case, this is active, and it's on the top of our pile.
What about Taryn? We don't see her here today. How's she taking
She's
this?
being a teacher today. She's her first year fully employed, so there's only so many hoops she can ignore. She's going to join us halfway through the day, but she had an obligation at the board office today.
What was her reaction last night?
Well, when Stacy first contacted me yesterday afternoon, he said, sorry, Stacy, but he said he'd be there at 4 o'clock, 4:30. So I called Taryn, or Owen called Taryn, I don't know. And she kept calling every hour, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. And Stacy and Doug finally knocked on the door, sorry again, guys, at 8:30.
It was bad weather.
When we had almost given up hope that the appointment was going to be kept, and so then we phoned her after the detectives left, and she's quite happy, very happy.
Unless you guys have anything else you'd like to add, I'd like to hear from you, Doug, as to why you felt, come on, go up there.
Come on.
You're retired.
Thank you.
This case obviously means something to you. You're not here wearing a suit and tie like Stacy is. Why are you here? What made you come down here?
Well, this case is one of those cases that bugs you from the very get-go. October 18th, 2009 was a bad day for the Skinner family, and Stacy and I wanted to make a difference and find the people responsible. And Stacy did a great job, finished off. I knew certain things that were coming down the pipe, but not everything. And of course, I wasn't a police officer any longer. I couldn't be involved with everything, but I asked him once he had made arrests to please let me know, and I'd like to come with him to see the family, and I'd like to be here for the press conference. And so that's why I'm here. Just, I feel sorry for the Skinners. They still haven't, this doesn't do anything for them, other than we've arrested somebody, and this carries on for them, and will always carry on for them for the rest of their lives. And I feel sorry for the Crusoe family too, because now they found out their son was involved in this murder. So it's tough.
A lot of homicide investigators say before they retire that a lot of them have one case that they want it to get solved. Was this that one case for you?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, definitely.
So to hear now that it's essentially solved?
Yes, it's definitely solved. Yes.
Thank you. That concludes today's conference.